What's that? What's that?
Ghosts, imprisonment and unexplained death await the team as we journey to Transylvania.
There's something me out.
And this week I've forsaken the shores of good old Blighty and the usual 24 hours for a 2-night marathon of terror. I have brought you to the Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania and a fortified retreat with a very violent history for the first in a special 2-part investigation. Welcome to Most Haunted and Raznov Night 1.
Sitting on top of a high and easily defended mountaintop, construction of the Citadel's thick and heavily fortified rock walls began at the behest of the Teutonic Knights in the early 1200s, providing the town with a safe haven in a land constantly facing brutal invasion. The fortress fell to invaders only once, when lack of water forced the defenders to capitulate. Legend has it that following this defeat, 2 Turkish prisoners dug a well within the walls. Local folklore suggests that the devil and his legions inhabit the mountaintops, and since prehistoric times, many strange rituals have been performed in these places. Perhaps not unsurprisingly then, that the Citadel abounds with strange tales of violent poltergeist activity, dark ghostly figures moving through its passageways, terrorizing the unsuspecting, eerie noises that defy explanation, and hushed tales of unkept promises, murder, and much more.
With so much death and destruction surrounding this place, who would have been brave enough to stay here alone and in the dark? Well, last night Carl and Stuart did just that, and this is what happened.
It's pitch black. You've got shards of light coming through from the windows, but that's it basically. And all of a sudden we're hearing bangs now.
That's not you, is it? Put the camera on my feet, I'm not moving. Is anyone there? It's gone cold already.
No, it's freezing, isn't it?
Where's your steps go to? Yeah, come on, nothing ventured, nothing going.
Come downstairs now. If you'd like to come join us, please feel free. No.
What's that for?
Touched her. I haven't touched her. I was behind you.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought you'd lost your balance or something.
It wasn't a... It was like... You know if someone's really trying to get in your
Yeah.
you know...
Oh,
I
feel like
I actually think it felt like you'd gone... Either you had tripped or you'd gone... like that.
No, definitely not me.
If that's the best you can do... What the is that? Is that somebody laughing?
Someone's laughing at us.
That's somebody laughing.
Shaken by the apparent assault of an aggressive spirit and wondering what the maniacal laughter signified for the coming investigation, Carl and Stuart ended their vigil.
There are many myths and legends that permeate the very fabric of Transylvania, from werewolves to vampires, and Raznov has one of its own. Underneath this floor, a skeleton was discovered, and legend has it that its soul forever wanders the fortress, acting as a lonely sentinel, warding off evil and foretelling of danger to anyone who could see it. So is that the reason why a tall, dark, shadowy figure has been seen wandering the rooms and standing on the walls? Or is there something more sinister behind it? The view from this part of the fortress is stunning, but the peaceful countryside outside could never hide the fear that lurks inside along these dark corridors. Two figures are said to roam this area, terrorising guests and workmen alike. One is that of a large man dressed in rags who's seen crouching in the corners. When approached, he stands and runs at unsuspecting guests with his arms flailing, but vanishes before his threatening attack reaches anyone. The second is a lady in dark peasant dress. She slowly floats across these old floors, quietly moaning to herself, ignoring all that is around her. Some people who have witnessed her think that she's in pain. Others think she's searching for her murdered lover. Many of the outside areas in the Citadel are said to witness paranormal activity, and here is no exception. A group of dark figures are said to congregate here as though they are planning something. This apparition is also accompanied by low murmurs. Are they villagers from a more dangerous time debating their fate, or just the result of dim light and howling winds? We have 48 hours to find out.
Even though we already have enough to instill fear into all the Most Haunted crew, there is one area that taunts us and stands as a constant reminder of what lies in wait tomorrow night: the well. But before that, we have to get through tonight. Given the experiences of Carl and Stuart of last night and the many stories we had heard regarding the Citadel, what was Dr. Kieran O'Keefe expecting of the coming investigation?
Kieran, this is so exciting. Here we are in Transylvania, in the Carpathian Mountains. We're in the most fantastic citadel that has 800 years of history. I can't wait to get started. We're here for 2 nights.
I know, it's absolutely amazing. It's a dream for so many of us just to be in Transylvania, but to be in a location like this with so much history and also activity is just fantastic.
Now, as I said, we're going to be here for 2 nights. The first night we're going to concentrate on this particular area. What particular rooms are you interested in investigating tonight?
Well, there are a number of rooms. One of them, the skeleton room, particularly intrigues me, but more so because when the public actually visit this location, they just see the skeleton actually through a glass panel. But we've been given access to that, so it means we can conduct vigils later on and also perhaps use the skeleton as a psychometry experiment for David and see what he picks up with.
So many people are seeing this dark, sinister, shadowy shape, which they assume to be the ghost of the skeleton. They can't all be wrong. Workmen and thousands of visitors that come here year in, year out.
Yeah.
What are they seeing?
Well, you're exactly right. Within psychical research and paranormal investigations generally, we're always looking for sighting of an apparition, but repeated, so independent witnesses are seeing the same thing. And certainly we're getting that. Maybe we're seeing a genuine apparition. Maybe that's what, we're actually getting these accounts for. In one particular location, though, which is the viewing gallery, this area where you've got a magnificent view of the town, I am concerned that maybe EMF might be responsible for people having visual hallucinations. Certainly having done some baselines earlier on today, there is a leap from about 0.3 milligauss up to about 40, 45, and then even peaks at 245
that's
milligauss.
a massive jump, isn't it?
And that's to do with the wiring in that particular location. For the rest of the area, though, there doesn't seem to be any anomalous data that I'm getting.
Wary of Kieran's warnings and with an unease we had not experienced since our earliest investigations, we were all slightly on edge as we wondered what the coming hours had in store for us.
There seems to be a couple of people spreading a little bit of a web here, but you're like right in your face.
Right.
He seems much more aggressive.
This picture's moving.
Which picture? And that one too. What?
This picture's moving. And this one's moving.
It's almost like I can see a big key going into a door, the door opening, and then, but it's almost like we let them in.
What's that? What's that?
Buoyed by the reassuring presence of David Wells, we began with his customary first look at the location, beginning with the viewing gallery high in the Citadel's walls.
There's a very strong impression coming. It's coming from here towards us of someone running at us.
Oh, right.
So someone running towards us, whether it's warning or whether it's aggressive, I'm not sure. A male figure. But you're like right in your face.
Right.
Now the problem I'm going to have is one of language. I know we've had this discussion, but it's they're going to communicate in pictures, and obviously what I see, I can tell you what I see. Language may be a bit of a problem, but this one, he seems much more aggressive than it's much more of a get out than a warning. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just get out. It's a get out kind of thing.
So he's obviously associated to this place.
Yeah.
Can you see what he looks like?
He looks as if he's a soldier, but I would say he seems as if he's you know, when they relax and they've got on, you know, it's the same in the modern army. You're wearing like just basic green fatigue, so it's his version of that. But it's like it's almost like tattered old trousers and a top. Would say to me that when he did cross, it was clearly not the winter months because he's not fully on. And he's also got, which I've just suddenly thought about, he's got no weapons on him.
Oh right. Okay.
So he's got no weapons. He's in kind of rags, but no weapons at all. So whether I mean, you would think if they were up here, they were keeping an eye out. So you think they'd be armed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe he was relaxing at some point. I don't know. Maybe he's got caught relaxing, and you know.
What time period are you talking about here with this man?
I think he feels. He feels around. Actually, feels early 1600s. He feels early 1600s to me.
Okay. Do you want to go further in? Can he communicate with you, even though you can't understand what he would say? Can he talk to you?
He seems to be repeating this whoosh all the time. It's just that whoosh, so he's repeating it all the time. So I don't know whether tourists get this here when they come to look around. I guess more sensitive ones might feel, well, hang on a minute, you know, something's trying to push me out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether they get that.
Yes, they do.
They do.
It has been reported, yeah.
There's a woman here as well.
Did somebody move their feet then?
I heard a bang.
I've heard something.
Yeah.
I've not moved my feet.
Okay.
There's a woman here, and she seems to be supplying people with food. Now, I don't know then whether they did long stints up here, whether perhaps
There it is again.
this part was where they actually slept for a watch. They might have slept for 8 hours, but she seems to be supplying. I can see her with water,
Oh, right.
offering water.
Same time period or
Yeah.
different time?
Same. She seems to be also aggressive towards me. She's not a welcoming soul at all.
I mean, this would be quite interesting because we know for a fact that we're the first group to investigate this location. This will be the first time that these supposed spirits will be encountering us. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're being so, hey, what's going on? Get out. You know, maybe. Especially with somebody like yourself.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
And is this woman, did you say she's quite old?
Yeah, she's no chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she would have had, she's a villager, and I think she would have had sons here, maybe even be related to this one, I'm not quite sure. But she would have had family here. I can feel family around her.
What sort of things are you picking up on?
Well, it's clearly a street, and I want to just get through the residuals of people going about their daily business. You know, I can hear just general clutter and clatter and things. I want to see what's moving about, really.
Yeah.
There seems to be a kind of just further up here. There's a clump, and it's almost like a whispering conspiracy of people, and I don't know what they're conspiring about. But I'm only guessing here that. Well, I'm not guessing. It's obvious from the place that people would have holed up to defend themselves, and I guess a lot of people would have been. It's almost like I've got them going. Oh, I think we should surrender. I think we should. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I think we should. I think we shouldn't. So things are getting desperate for them. Things are getting to the point where they might be running out of food.
And can you tell what time period this is again?
This is early 1600s.
Right.
This group are very. There seems to be a couple of people spreading a little bit of a web here. Now, there's no reason why in these times they didn't have our modern equivalents of spies or people who would infiltrate things like that. There's no reason. And I'm hearing the words I'm hearing, and oddly enough in English, Kieran, a conversation I'm hearing, and it's kind of like the prince will treat us right. The prince will treat us right. But what they're actually showing me is a kind of very benevolent person giving. So, and there's a lot of we can't surrender, we can, and it's based around here. There's a clump of people around here.
So, do you think people would see a clump of people?
I think they might see it as a dark shadow.
That's exactly what's been seen here.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
So it is, yeah, right.
They also... Go on, Kieran.
I was going to say it's also quite significant about the time period as well,
Yes.
because given that this was a defensive stronghold, they would have been having those sort of conversations at any point, but to say the early 1600s is quite significant, because that was the time, the one time when it was actually broken into.
Right, so someone gave them... So it's almost like someone gave them some information that they were then infiltrated by. It's almost... I tell you, the images, again, they're really strongly... They have to use images. It's almost like I can see a big key going into a door, the door opening, and then... do you just see what I'm saying? It's might not be physical, but it's almost like we let them in. We helped them get in. It's smelly, isn't it?
No.
Can't you?
Smell of what?
Like a dry, stale smell.
No, I can't smell. No.
You hear the tapping?
No.
I can't. I did. Stopped. There you go.
Who's in here then?
Oh.
There we go.
In here, I've got two people that seem to be in some way joined together, but they're probably earlier than the 1600s. They seem more 13th, 14th, maybe even. Their clothing appears to be, quite rich, so they're not peasants. Mm-hmm. They're concerned about making the place work. Really, maybe it's building work, or maybe it's the politics of the place. Because if people were holed up in here, there would be politics. There has to be.
When you say two people, is it a woman and a man, or two men?
Two men.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely two men.
Stuart, you're right.
I'm sorry, my attention's been drawn to that room. If you look behind you a bit, you see the archway windows, if you like. Now, I don't know if there's windows on the other side, but I've just seen two shadows. I saw one, and I thought I didn't think much of it, and then I was looking again, and then I saw it. Another shadow, like someone was walking on the far side of that wall, if you like, going by.
Did you think you got it on camera?
I don't know. Well, the camera won't pick it up that far, you see.
Right.
But I was looking.
There's banging.
Let's go there.
Yeah, come on, let's go up there. It's interesting already we're getting tappings and what Stuart's just seen. Wouldn't it be great, Kieran, to look back at that footage?
And to actually see the shadows going across,
This is amazing, isn't it?
It's not forever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Like boom, boom, boom.
Yes. There's loud bangings. It seems to be following us, whatever it is. Do you think it's these two gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It seems... Oh.
You're right.
No, sorry, my hearing just went there. Just as I was talking, my hearing went really in and out. You see, my initial reaction here would be, my conscious mind says defensive. It still says defensive because you're overlooking the highest point. It says this to me in my conscious mind, but my psychic mind has this slightly richer, so it's more of not a courtroom, more of a place for people to meet. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's more, so less people sat here waiting to, watch out, more of a place where people are having a bit of a conflict, and it's slightly richer as well.
Goodness me, should we call out? This banging is getting a lot louder.
If there's anyone here, any astrals, any spirits here, could you please make a sound? It's very loud. Are you male? Could you tap once for no and twice for yes?
Yes.
Is there two of you?
Yeah. Do they mean there's any...
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
That's a yes then.
Yeah.
With so much activity seemingly rampant in every area and Stuart's apparent sighting, we switched to night vision and prepared for a night of shocking surprises.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, in here, I've got like this female coming up through the floor, but she's She's feeling alright, and she's almost saintly.
Right.
Like a... Is that you, Kieran, making noises?
Making what sort of
I
noise?
heard that. Like a kind of crunch, or like a the jaw.
It wasn't me.
I heard that.
Just where you were,
Yes.
I heard
Yeah.
A crunch.
Yeah. Like
I thought I still... Jeff would have had me on camera, so...
I definitely heard a crunch.
That's loud. You alright, David?
Yeah, okay.
This picture's moving.
Which picture?
What?
On that one too. What?
This picture's moving.
Get a camera on it.
This one's moving.
Listen to the banging.
These two at the end. Kath noticed this one moving, and then she noticed that one moving.
There's no wind, there's no windows.
No.
Is there a woman present with us now? Thank you. And you're saying she's coming from below?
She's coming from below and she's rising up. In like, she's very kind of... There's a serenity about her, the way she's rising up. You know, there's a real serenity about the way she's coming up.
Right, any name with her, initial? Why is she coming down from down below?
I want to get the name Maria with her, but it's like Santa Maria, which is Saint Maria, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very odd. She's coming up and she's kind of embracing the whole place. It's almost like she's flooding the whole thing with light, do you know? Like a protector.
Right.
It's almost like it's like a sacrificial thing. Do you know what I mean? Almost like a not her being sacrificed,
Right.
sacrificing herself for the sake of.
Flippin' heck. Sounds like workman.
Doesn't it sound like someone with a hammer?
But why is she coming up from down below? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, she must be down below. She must have been buried down below.
Okay. Well, there is a. Do you want me to say or not?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, there's a skeleton down
Right.
below.
Okay.
Do you want to have a look at the skeleton, and then maybe come back on a vigil, maybe do some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to have a quick look?
Yeah. Where is it?
Right. So basically, it's down there, David. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Kieran, do you want to lift
Yeah,
that
I
there?
can actually open up the hatch if you step back
Yeah.
and show you.
Oh God, there's tapping right under my feet. That is loud.
So I can show you there.
Can you see it, David? At your torch?
Oh God, yeah. I
Yeah.
can see it.
Is that her?
I think there's every chance it is. I might go down there on a vigil and see.
And see.
Maybe use some psychometry, perhaps.
Oh God, yeah.
You all right?
Yeah. It's a bit spinny.
You okay?
Okay, yeah.
Already so much had happened. Would the protective spirit of Maria shield us from danger as we continued our investigation of Raznov Citadel?
I can't get out. It's me out.
Our investigation of Raznov Citadel deep in the Carpathian Mountains of Romania continued. What further shocks lay in wait for us? Only the hours would tell.
Oh, what's that?
There you go, and you can hear it again.
I can't get out. There's something here.
Leaving Jeff, Kieran and Kath as guardians above us, David and I descended to make physical contact with a skeleton in an attempt to give the dry, dusty bones some human substance.
Oh, listen.
What?
I can hear it. Dragging. I might be upstairs.
Sounds like it's coming from upstairs.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to touch the bones?
Right, I'm just shut my eyes and get a bit. Oh.
What?
It just moved. It scared me.
Is it? Oh, on its own?
Is that them?
Was that you creaking above us?
Yeah, cat just moved slightly.
Okay.
Just only there, but not now.
Not now.
That's what that's it.
Standing still.
Okay. There's tapping and creaking. that you moving, Kath?
No.
Absolutely still.
It's creaking. What?
There is something moving in that corner.
No.
Did you not hear like something? I distinctly heard something scratching about in that corner. There's no rodents or anything.
No, no.
I don't know.
Is that you guys moving?
Seriously, standing absolutely still.
Can you hear it, Kieran?
I can hear it sometimes, yeah.
There's two things going on here. One is there's either a problem with her legs.
Oh.
What's that? What's that? Did you hear that?
I did.
I heard that.
A growl.
Oh.
What's that? What's that? I've never had such a distinct growl. So there's something problem with her legs, or there's a mixture of bones here. There's almost like she's drawing attention to her leg.
If there is a woman here, please can you make yourself known to us? Do you need our help in any way? Maria, if you're here, please can you do something to let us know that you're here? What is that?
What's that?
Is that you guys?
What?
Moving?
No.
Keep still.
Christ, it's like someone's just walking above us here.
I'm not even on the
Just
floorboards. I'm on the stone. I'm on the stone part. Kath is standing still, and Jeff. You can see Jeff. He's kneeling, looking in.
Can you hear that?
No.
You can't hear that.
No.
So we can just hear that, me and you, David.
Yeah, I can definitely hear it.
Do you sense anybody here?
I sense someone more upstairs than actually down here with
Do you?
us. Yeah.
Let's go upstairs then. Oh, that was weird because I definitely heard. Like you guys walking around.
Like sometimes it sounded by us as well.
Yeah. Like creak, creak, creak of the
Yeah.
floor.
We didn't hear it.
For a lot of that, I was standing there off the floorboards, and Kath was almost sitting on the windowsill.
That's weird.
Be aware of that kind of big step back.
Where did that go to the little room?
It's not big. It's just trying to.
No, nowhere near you.
Now.
Oh, is it?
You didn't touch me.
Nowhere near you.
What's the matter?
Oh, it's just part of being inside. I thought it was Kath.
No, I was nowhere near you.
Come on in. There you go, there you go. Hello? If there's anybody here, any spirit people, please can you tap twice? Just bang for us, make a noise, let us know that you're here. It's coming from behind you, Jeff. It's faint, but the first two are quite loud.
Yeah, definitely.
Could David have been touched by the aggressive male entity who shoved Carl the previous evening? And was that spirit responsible for the tapping? To find further evidence, we split into separate groups. David, Jeff, Carl and I went to the museum gallery, whilst Kath and Kieran remained within the room above the skeleton of Maria.
Jack, I have to say that I'm not happy about being in this room.
Why?
I just don't like it.
You mean because of the skeleton, or?
No, not because of the skeleton. I just don't like the whole place at all. And I've been really brave because I've not been scared.
Yeah.
It's the first night, you know, walking around today.
That's strange for you to say that.
Isn't it weird? I feel really terrified.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel terrified, like anticipation, like something's going to happen, or you just feel scared, basically?
I feel like something's going to happen.
Right.
You know, like kind of in your chest, kind of dread.
Right.
This is an act, I can feel something else down here. Did you? Yeah. Was that there?
No, that was something down there.
There was something down there, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Was it?
Definitely.
I heard a thump down here, yeah.
Wow, I've not been down here.
No, I haven't, but it feels more active.
You ask you Romanian.
Yay, cineva acolo? Yay, cineva acolo?
There is movement, Kieran. You can't deny that.
What sort of movement?
It's a dragging. There is movement, Kieran.
What, you're hearing a dragging sound?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that. It's very faint though, isn't it?
I feel like my chest is tightening.
Very quiet, isn't it?
It's one of those. You know, when it goes really quiet before something really major happens.
There is something down here. Just make it. Come on, whoever you are, I know you're here. Come a bit closer.
What?
Something just went in my ear.
What?
Close enough.
Oh.
Oh, that's nice.
It's not Romanian. I don't think this was Romanian.
Oh, really? What, English?
He spoke to me in English and it was very strong. Well, you might be Romanian, you could speak English, but... Right.
No, Maria, ye cineva acolo?
He's walking. I can hear walking. I can hear walking around us.
What, above us?
Kieran, there's walking around us. There was footsteps.
I feel watched here, I feel followed here. Also downstairs.
The weird thing, I've just seen a white mist down there.
A mist?
Have you?
Yeah. But the funny thing is, when I'm down that end, I feel like somebody's right behind me, but I feel like everything's up this end. When I come up this end, I feel like everything's down at that end.
Yeah.
It's almost wherever you are.
Shit, I heard some tapping on the glass. What's that? Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Like
Yeah, I
I
heard
was
it.
scraping or something on the glass.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard.
Shit, I heard some tapping on the glass.
That was glass.
Throw something at the
Saw a
group.
light right there. Flash of light.
I just heard tapping, just as you said that.
The
Saw a
group.
light right there. Flash of light.
I just heard tapping.
No, it's like that. Glass at me.
Yeah, like fingernails down.
Oh, was it?
It was exactly,
Exactly
that. It was exactly that.
Oh.
What? You're right.
I just thought you were stood there and I felt like I got poked in the side. But you've moved.
I did just move round. I didn't poke you, I swear I didn't. You know I don't mess around.
Oh, I don't like it, I don't like it, no.
Come on, show yourself to us. Show yourself as a dark shadow. Let's see a dark shadow. Jesus.
I just saw it. Did you see it?
No.
Just as you said it, shot. What? You never saw it?
No.
I can't believe that. I saw, as you, I swear to God, when you said that, a shadow went oof, straight across. You never saw that?
No.
Did you see it, Carl?
No, I didn't.
Right across.
Please introduce yourself. Show us. Where you are? Say it again.
Oh no, I heard that.
I heard something over here.
Really?
On the glass again, yeah.
What? Like a scraping?
No, it's like movement.
Yeah, it was more of a...
It's almost
something moving.
I know it sounds very cliche, but it was almost like
One of the dummies in the room.
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was like fabric moving. Yeah.
Please introduce yourself. Show us where you are. Say it again.
oh no, I heard that.
I heard something over here.
Let's walk you all down.
Sorry, I didn't mean to grab you. Did you hear that?
Did you?
No.
The whole cabinet.
It sounded like you shook it, yeah.
That whole
No,
cabinet
sure.
shook then.
Yeah.
With the team on edge and starting to feel genuine terror from the activity that was breaking out around us, what were the prospects of the night's investigation ending peacefully?
one big bang, just one big bang above me. That was one big bang above me. I'll get out. I can't get out. There's something that f***ed me out.
Rasnov's Citadel was certainly challenging our fortitude, and with so much having already happened, who amongst us would be brave enough to take lone vigils? Carl opted to return to Maria's skeleton, while Stuart went alone to the viewing gallery, where he and Carl had heard noises earlier in the day.
We both looked at each other and we says, "What the hell was that?" And he says, "Did you hear what I heard?" I said, "Yeah." And we both looked down here at the same time, and as I'm saying it now, I can hear it. It sounded like a scurrying type of thing, and we thought, oh, it must be a cat, because there's cats and dogs all over the show at the moment. But it wasn't. It was more of a groan, if you like. Anyway, we walked down the end, and there was nothing there, which was quite a surprise. So we're actually at the end now. There you go, and you can hear it again. That. So we're actually at the end now. There you go, and I've just heard it again. It's actually sounded like an old man. God, it's so dark, I can't see a bloody thing. I'm just going down the stairs. What's that? Oh. Hello? That's come from downstairs. Hello? Oh, that was upstairs. Hello? No one followed me in because the door shut. Right. Oh no, I'm scared. Right, I'm going to go down here. I've got to go down here. It sounds like the knockings are coming from where the skeleton is. If there's anybody here in the viewing gallery, could you please show us a sign? Make that noise again like you did before. There you go. I can hear it. I can hear it as clear as day. There's a skeleton. Oh! Oh shit! Right. Oh, I need a brain move for this. I'm now putting the top on. Oh. Alright, thanks, man. I'm now underneath the floor with the skeleton. Maria, if you're down here, if this is your skeleton, please try to move it.
Well, show me you're here. If it's you that's been making the noises upstairs... Look, that's still... What was that? Someone's walking upstairs. I'm going to be quiet.
If that's you, can you make that noise louder? Can you tap? Can you do something else for us? I'm going.
One loud bang, and I'll go. I'll know it's you, and I'll go. Well, show me yourself down here. I know this is... One big bang, just one big bang above me. That was one big bang above me, and I don't like it. I'm sorry, Maria. I'm going. That's it. That. I've got to get out. I've got to get out. I've got to get out of there. Oh shit! There's something up there. I can't get out. There's something. Let me out. Get out. It was easy. It was easy. There's no one there. There's no one around.
With so much having happened in the space of one night and another night to endure, how would Dr. Kieran O'Keefe explain away our experiences?
Having had an opportunity to review the footage and speak to those involved in various vigils on night one at Raznov, I've now come to the conclusion that although a lot of interesting things happened, from my opinion, nothing paranormal occurred. David and Yvette conducted a vigil in the skeleton room and heard some unusual banging and knocking sounds. Essentially, they picked up on auditory phenomena. Now, normally, as a skeptic, I'd say we can't control for the fact that people would have been walking around somewhere in that room or even another part of the building and actually causing the creaking sounds themselves. What is good for this particular phenomena is that Jeff, Kath, and myself were immediately above Yvette and David. We could actually see them and we could see each other and know 100% certainty that none of us were moving.
Can you hear that?
No.
You can't hear that?
Because we can verify that nobody above Yvette and David was moving, it means that this phenomena is quite interesting. While Stuart was conducting a lone vigil in the viewing gallery, Carl was conducting a lone vigil in the skeleton room. Whilst Carl was in the skeleton room, he did actually hear what sounded like footsteps in the room above him.
Well, show me yourself down here. I know this is...
This is interesting because it ties into an earlier vigil with Yvette and David when they heard a similar thing. But at the end of the day, I still have to remain sceptical, and we may be looking at a natural source for that footstep sound. The most interesting thing about Carl's experience was him being unable to get out of the skeleton room, almost as though somebody was blocking the trapdoor from opening. Now with this, we didn't repeat the experience enough times to actually tell if the trapdoor was stuck in any way and it needed an extra bit of force to push it. All in all, the first night at Raznov was an exciting investigation where there was a number of alleged phenomena. But in my opinion, I think what we're dealing with is perfectly natural phenomena, not supernatural.
The team had been shaken by our experiences of a night at Raznov Citadel. Would the benign spirit of Maria and her all-circling aura of brilliant white light continue to protect us as we prepared to face our worst nightmares and spend a further night at the Citadel? Until next time, sleep tight.
I don't want to look down.
Oh shit! There's bones on the floor! Yechiniva Akolo! You are joking.
No way. Something just touched my leg.
Is there anybody there?
The trouble is, if we can't contact them, we can't get out.
Well, if you want to see more of Carl's antics back in Raznoff, just tune into Living 2 right now for tonight's Most Haunted Extra. Here on Living Next tonight, poor Pascal. She's still waitressing at the slightly dodgy Champagne Club, which isn't helping in her quest to be the next Rachel Hunter. Brilliant, brand new drama in Outrageous Fortune in just a moment.